So I know I said that yesterday was the most important skill, but this is just more of it. So today, you're going to learn how to find 1% of a number. So where do you hear smaller percents? Like in the restaurants, it's 10 and 15 and 20. Where do you hear ones and twos and a halves? Where do you hear that? Maybe some of you guessed in a savings account in a bank. So it's definitely something you want to know how to do. So we're going to do the same thing we did yesterday. I'm going to give you some examples and you're going to see if you can find the pattern. So now there's two examples up there. See if you can figure out how we're finding 1% of a number. And again, we can do this with a snap of a finger in our minds. We don't need a piece of paper. We don't need pencil. We don't need a calculator for certain. Here's a couple more examples. Is your pattern holding true? Let's move me out of the way. So just take one last glance and see if your pattern holds true. Did you figure it out? You're moving the decimal two places to the left. So easy. It's a piece of cake. And the reason this works is sort of similar to that last reason. This time you're finding 1%, which is 1/100th. So you're dividing by 100. Just too good to be true. Had to throw a little too good to be true in there because it's just so lovely that you can do this in your minds. So you go ahead, hit pause, answer these, and then come back and see if you got the right answers. Give them a quick check. You can hit pause, and hopefully you got the right answers. So now this is going to go back to what we learned yesterday. If you remember, to find 20%, we found 10% and we doubled it. So now see if you can find the pattern by looking at this chart, going from 1% to 2%, 1% to 2%. So go ahead and look at each of these examples and see if the rule that you think is true is actually true. So did you find a rule for finding 2%? Let's see if you got it. Did you say find 1% and double it? It's just like 20%. Percents are so lovely. You can add them, subtract them, multiply, divide them. They're just easy to manipulate. So if you double 1% to find 2%, what do you think we're going to do to find half of a percent? Go ahead and hit pause. After you study the chart, see if you can come up with a rule for finding half of 1%. Did you get it? Find 1% and take half the number. It's so easy. Don't you just wish all math was this easy? So the summary for today, 1%, we moved the decimal two places to the left. 2%, we found 1% and doubled it. Half of a percent, which sometimes we write as the fraction half, and sometimes we write as the decimal. So you find your 1% and then find half of that number. And then any percent, you can just add, subtract, multiply, divide to manipulate. So I might have thrown a couple of tricks on the homework to see if you get it. But again, if any of this is confusing, just go back and watch the video again. All right, good luck with your work tonight.